Well, it appears the FISA court is only looking at a symptom, but not the cause of corruption within the FBI. The court ordering the FBI to re-verify all previous warrant applications involving just one person, an FBI attorney who falsified evidence against Carter Page. However, Fox News has learned the court did not order the FBI to double-check warrant applications involving other officials who made key omission, errors, and deceptions in other applications. Joining us now to talk about it, award-winning investigative reporter, Fox Business contributor John Solomon. John, great to see you. I wrote a column that said, this feeble reaction by the FISA court and the presiding judge, Rosemary Collyer, means the court should be abolished. The message here is this. You can lie to the FISA court and there will be no accountability or punishment. If you get caught, the court will merely demand remedies for the future. Are you disappointed that more aggressive action hasn't been taken by Collyer or, for that matter, her boss, Chief Justice of the U.S. Supreme Court, John Roberts?
Well, listen, I try to stay neutral as a reporter, but I've talked to a lot of people, liberals and Democrats, from the ACLU side to very big conservatives who are now deeply concerned. And many of these people were supportive of the FISA court for a long time. People like Lindsey Graham, Mark Meadows, Jim Jordan. There's a growing concern that this court has become a rubber stamp, and it acted like in a case where we're spying on the presidential nominee, Republican presidential nominee, a few weeks before Election Day, based on evidence from his rival, that they were too busy. They were in line at Disney World and didn't have time to look at the FISA application, ask a single question, and 3 years later, they're still in that Disney line because there's now a widespread body of evidence of wrongdoing, and they want to narrow it down to a couple of questions. I don't think that's the sort of jurisprudence that serves Americans well, and I think it's becoming clear that either Attorney General Barr or Chief Justice Roberts are going to be the only two people to be in a position to impose discipline because the court and the FBI look reluctant to do so.
Yeah, well, certain key provisions of FISA come up for renewal in about 3 months. And I think there are some senators that, are saying, wait a minute, this isn't working. They lied to us before back in 2002, more than 75 cases of deception in FISA warrant applications. Then Director Robert Mueller promised he'd fix it. He didn't, and the FBI continued to deceive the FISA court. The court does not work. It needs to be reworked into something else. I want to ask you about Andrew McCabe, who, of course, was fired from the FBI for lying repeatedly, not once, not twice, but 4 times. I think we have a graphic we can put up on the screen about his various alleged lies. Now, of course, he sued the government, saying, you wrongfully terminated me. Yeah. Right. Look at those lies on the left-hand side of your screen. Is this a subterfuge by McCabe?
It is. It's designed to distract us from the fact that he was in the chain of command that approved this very bad FISA. It was on his watch that a lot of these omissions and outright lies were presented to the court. And these little legal stunts on the side, whatever they're intended to do for him legally, are really just a distraction. He and James Comey have tried to pretend that they weren't in this line of approval, and yet they were deeply involved. They took this case out of the field and took it into headquarters, which was a rare act in and of itself. And now it's time for them to be held accountable. Andrew McCabe and James Comey were at the head of this machine, and so far they've been able to bob and weave. It's time for Congress and the courts and hopefully Attorney General Barr to mete out some discipline to those who should have been supervising much more closely.
U.S. Attorney John Durham, appointed by the Attorney General to look into the origins of the Trump-Russia investigation, is now seeking John Brennan's communications. And I think that would precede the investigation itself. Are they looking into Brennan as a potential instigator of what became the Russia hoax?
So I think there are 2 things to watch for in that, right? One is, was the CIA meddling or probing, targeting Trump before the FBI got involved? And did they lay a breadcrumb trail for the FBI to go follow that led them to Christopher Steele? That's one question. I'm not sure we know the evidence that goes there yet. There's another possibility here, which is that they're looking at James Comey and McCabe for false statements. and they may find corroborative evidence from someone like Brennan or CIA officials that the stories that James Comey's been giving in testimony to Congress were not true. What I'm hearing is that that's one of the focal points right now. They're looking at false statement cases against some of the leadership, and Brennan's notes and his records could be key evidence against someone like a James Comey if they ever took that action.
Brennan told Congress under oath, if I recall, that the dossier was not used as part of the intelligence community assessment. That's untrue. And is that one of the things they're looking at?
They very well be. And if you look, the CIA was still fighting at the last minute to keep that out. If you look at in the IG report, there's some great evidence on this, to keep it out of the assessment, and it made it into some of the footnotes. Again, that's another place where McCabe and Comey played a big role. I don't think McCabe and Comey's stories add up to the evidence that now has been put into the record by Horowitz. I would keep an eye on that. I think they're two guys whose testimony is being looked at closely.
Yeah. You know, when rats get trapped in a cage, they begin to gnaw at one another, don't they, John?
Yeah, that they do.
John Sullivan, great to see you. Thanks very much
for
being
Greg.
here.
Appreciate it.